Okay, so we're getting ready to go ahead and start personalizing our layout, get things kind of where we want them to be, and so we can really start focusing on content and some cool Bootstrap features that will tie into this site to help us learn how to leverage the Bootstrap responsive framework. All right, let's take a quick look at where we are and where we want to be. This is where we're headed. We're going to go ahead and add our links and some sections in. We're going to make some adjustments to some of the information, some of the content in the page, and we're going to actually change the color a little bit. We can see, so that we can start focusing on each independent section and doing neat things in those sections as well. So let's take a look. Here's where we currently are, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start right at the top. And so the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and start focusing on the title. All right, so let's go over to Dreamweaver. We'll open up an index. The first thing that we want to do is go ahead and update the title of our site. And we'll do that right up here. We're going to replace the scrolling nav with, and use your name, not my name, in here. But do stick with the program, please, for now. And you can customize further at a later point. Now we're going to start working in the navigation. And what we want to do inside the navigation is change the title in there. And if you look at the sample site, what we can see where we're headed to is basically you just want to be able to put in there the same thing that we're putting up here in the title itself. So if we refresh, actually we didn't even save, so let's just grab our title, and I believe we went ahead and did that. If we look, you can see we did it all lowercase, so let's stick with that. Let's go ahead and stick with that and update our title to reflect the lowercase over here, and then uppercase our name. And we can just copy that and bring it down in here into our nav, which is where we're going to put that for right now. So if we save and check often. Save and check often helps you catch errors early and fix them quickly instead of spending and wasting a whole bunch of time. So make sure you have console open and do a cache refresh. Oops, I'm on the not on localhost, silly me. There we go. Do a cache refresh, and we can see we're good there, and we can see we're good up here. And the other thing you want to check while you're doing that is you just check your links and make sure that they're working. You don't have to get real extensive about it, but you just want to make sure you didn't throw something off. The next thing that we want to go ahead and do is in our site, what we're going to do is add a image of ourselves, and eventually we're actually going to pull it from Bootstrap. But for now, we don't really want to waste time while we're coding focused on the image and what image or doing anything like that. So we want to do something representative of what we're going to do with that image. And we want that image to appear right up in here. If you see when we look at our sample, we want that image to be right there. And the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to use a free resource that's available and open to us. And we're going to come down here inside our header, sorry about that, right here. And right below the opening container, which we're learning about containers right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in an image. And we're going to use what's called placeholder.com, where we can actually call out and ask for an image. And they provide images for us, which is pretty cool. And then what we're going to do with that image is we're going to use a Bootstrap class called Rounded Circle, and we're going to let it be in a fluid image, meaning that it will move along with the responsive nature of Bootstrap, and we'll dive more into that later. Be sure to update your alt, and we have put that above our welcome. Let's go ahead and clean our code, press save, and if we go out and we take a peek real quick, we'll see that image comes in and it actually just fills it in there for us, which is exactly what we're looking for. Next thing we want to do is go after this gray background. And it's another Bootstrap feature. So Bootstrap comes with many different features as far as styling goes and coloring. And one of the cool things that we can do is we can come in and just change the color of things simply by changing the class. So in this case, it focuses on a primary, and what we want is secondary. And secondary is a grayish color that Bootstrap uses and essentially just applies a rate to it. Cool little feature, little things about using Bootstrap makes it awesome. We're going to finish updating our header now. And as far as updating our header, you can see we're going to just go ahead and add our name right into where it says scrolling nav. So let's make sure we're looking at our header and go in there to scrolling nav. And we'll just go ahead and put our name in there in the H1. And then the next thing we want to update is our tagline. And we'll just go ahead and use this for now. And if we go out and test and check, we can see that it's changed exactly the way that we wanted it to. Our links are still working, no errors over here in console, and we are good to continue on. So the next thing that we are going to work on is we want to go ahead and make sure that we have the sections that we want to work in so that we can just focus on building our page, the content and the different things that we want to do inside of our sections. And so we're just going to lay those sections out quickly. It's pretty straightforward, and we'll start with the about, and you can actually use this page, the sample page, to copy and paste the code to fill in the different parts. So for the about, we're going to look at the about page, and we're going to go ahead and just update that H2 to who I am, and we're going to hit save, and that should change, which is great. And then we're going to move on to our next section, which is experience. Now, to do this, what we need to do is we have to create a section called experience. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this section, services. So we're going to replace our experience section, our services section, which we can see we have in here, with our experience. And we want it to say what I have done. Again, you can go to the sample site and actually just, as far as content goes, you can go and just lift it right from there, and it'll make it much easier. So we'll go ahead, we'll get rid of the services section. And for the sake of time, I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to go ahead and put my experience section in. And as we are learning about columns and containers, you'll start to see how we have a container and a row, and how this all comes together. And so each section, essentially, you could easily just go ahead and copy and paste each one of these sections to end up with all the sections that we need to be completed, which is we're adding in what we're adding into the page. We've gotten rid of the service, so what we're adding into the page is the experience, education, skills, interest, and awards. So I'm going to go ahead and paste those sections in. You will be able to view the reference site. And you can see I forgot my section there, closing section. You'll be able to view the reference site and take a look at what the sections are that you need to get in there into the code. I don't think it makes sense to do each section in the video and draw the video out longer than it needs to be. And use the reference site as well as far as what to put in those sections. So if I save and I go out and I take a look, because I've updated the sections, and we're just using lower ipsum beyond the opening the H2 and then the opening paragraph. We're just using lorem ipsum in there. So if I empty the cache and I come out, we can see that each of the sections have been placed in there. One of the things you want to pay attention to when you're doing the sections is we are leveraging classes. If you see, we have the offset of colors. We have light, darker, right? That is being controlled but right there in the section itself as a class. So BG light, and you can see every other one is light, and about starts as without that class at all. So make sure that you're paying attention to that and getting that done. The other thing to pay attention to is the ID that's going into each section tag. That ID is being used by JavaScript and the link as the link in the navigation in the top of the page to complete the scrolling action that we see. So of course, again, for the sake of time, you don't need to sit and watch me do each link and each item. So for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a copy and paste. And what you'll see is that we have a link in here for the that aligns to the ID about. And if I collapse that, we'll see we have experience, which aligns to the ID experience, so on and so forth. As we go and we look through our sections, we can see that we have a link for each one of them. Additionally, we can see that there are classes. So these classes are either used by Bootstrap or by the JS scroll to know how to scroll down to each section. And as we go through the project, we'll learn more and more with each step of the way as we go through the project on each of these items. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expand all, and I'm going to apply source formatting. And you will be able to go out to GitHub and take a look. The link is below in the homework, so that you can study the code a little better, pick it up if you need to, whatever it is you need to do. Of course, this will be available up in GitHub for your reference. But for now, we are good there, and we're going to close that page. We're going to go out and we're going to take a peek at what we've completed as of this point. And we can see that we've gotten our navigation by adding those links. Pretty straightforward HTML work that we're doing here. And we can see that everything is working as expected. And it's kind of cool. If you watch, these will highlight as it scrolls through. We have no errors, and that puts us in a pretty good spot. So let's go ahead and let's do our commit. So let's do a git status, and we can see the only thing that we worked in was the index.html. We'll do a git add, and then we'll do a git commit, and our message will be added sections content and links to personalize the template. And let's say to begin personalizing the template. Ah, goodness, look at me, I'm not even inside of quotes here. So let's fix that real quick. And there's our commit. So at this point, git status, we are ready to complete a merge and push to production. We'll see you in the next video.